Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. We are live in Dubai, and today we are reviewing the Pakistan versus Sri Lanka game. It's a Super Fours match. It's the dress rehearsal before the finals, and not much in it for teams, for both teams in terms of points or anything like that. But just confidence going into that final. And I was Sri Lanka coming out winners. Both teams resting a few players, but Sri Lanka played their main man Hasaranga, and he was the man of the match. He stole the show. Pakistan getting restricted for 121. They got all out, and Sri Lanka chased that down. A bit of a topsy turvy chase, but in the end, they three overs to spare and 5 wickets as well. And it was the comfortable win for Sri Lanka in the end. A very convincing performance, and now that's what 4 wins in a row. They've beaten Bangladesh, they beat Afghanistan, India, and now Pakistan, and they're brimming with confidence right now. Are Sri Lanka? They've really turned around their tournament after that first game, and their bowling has been outstanding. Today Hasaranga shined before it was the fast bowlers, but they bowled well as a unit. Again, if you see, Theeksana picked up a couple of wickets. Madhushan made his debut. He picked up a couple of wickets. Karuna Ratne picked up a wicket, gave 4 runs in his only over. And so yeah, Sri Lanka, their fast bowling has been supportive, and the spinners as well. They bowled well as a unit. They've changed it up. They have Theeksana bowling in the power play, then fast bowlers bowling with the in the middle overs as well. So they've mixed it up in terms of pace and spin, but it's been very accurate. Whoever comes in is doing a job for them. What's his name? Shanaka, he didn't pick up any wickets today, but he's had a really good tournament as well. And overall, I feel that Sri Lanka will have a lot of confidence going to that final. But again, this tournament has become toss dependent. Of course, it's been closer than the World Cup in terms of the contest each match. But I feel that there is an advantage winning the toss, big advantage. And again, in the final, you're going to see that. So whoever wins the toss will definitely have a 70-30 advantage to win the game. If you look at from Pakistan's point of view with the bat, they struggled throughout. There was a bit of a partnership there in the beginning with Babar and Rizwan, but after that, Nawaz chipped in, but not too much in terms of strike rate as well. They just couldn't rotate the strike. Fakhar Zaman played quite a few dot balls, 13 of 18. Iftikhar Ahmed 13 of 17. And then Khujr 4 of 8. So the dot balls consumed in the middle overs from Pakistan made sure that they couldn't cross 130, and that's been the thing. Like there's one playing, you can play aggressive cricket, but at the same time you have to rotate strike. If you're not going to work the singles, get run a ball, then you're going to make it difficult for yourself and put more pressure. And once you try to hit, you get out, and that's what Pakistan will have to change in the final. They'll have to rotate the strike more, single doubles, make sure that the runs are coming, even if it's not boundaries. That's okay. With these slow pitches, every run counts, and that's what they have to do. I know Fakhar Zaman is a boundary hitter, so is Khujr, Iftikhar Ahmed, but they'll have to make sure in the middle overs that they don't stifle that run rate. They keep going, and that's how they're going to put pressure on the opposition. If you're going to just continue to try to hit every ball and play and miss, then you're gonna just raise that pressure on yourself, and that's what you don't want to do in the final, especially. But yeah, I think from Sri Lanka's perspective, the bowler of the match was Hasaranga. He was outstanding. Picked up 3 wickets, 4 overs, 21 runs. He picked up the wicket of Babar Azam as well. Babar again today, he got some runs under his belt. He hasn't had the greatest of tournaments, but he did struggle. He didn't look in the finest of touches. Yes, he played one really good straight drive in the beginning, but apart from that, he is struggling a bit in this tournament, and hopefully in the final he does come good for Pakistan. They do depend on him quite a bit. If Babar gives them that start, even if they get 150, 160, they can cause problems for Sri Lanka in the finals, even if they bat first. Because if you look at Pakistan's bowling lineup, they have all 4 or 5, whoever the fast bowlers are, they bowl 140 plus. And for any batting opposition, that's going to be difficult. And you saw that again in the second innings today. They were just chasing 122 versus Sri Lanka, but they struggled in the beginning. They were 2 for 2. Pakistan bowled really well with the new ball. Hasnain and Rauf caused problems for Sri Lanka with that extra pace and the height as well from Rauf. They did cause issues, and that's the thing with Pakistan. If they don't need to hit every ball. If they can, work to single doubles, get to 160 somehow, they can cause problems for opposition with their bowling, and that's going to be true for other tournaments as well. But for now, I think. The batting has to take more responsibility. The top three need to perform more. Even if they're not hitting, they rotate the strike, and the boundaries will come. I think that's what they'll have to do, because the more dot balls you consume, you're giving that bowler and the fielders more confidence, and you're applying pressure on yourself. You're going to play a big shot and you're going to make a mistake. So that's where I think single doubles will be important for the Pakistani team. The bowling, was pretty good. They just didn't have enough runs on the board. Haris, Hasnain, Mohammad Nawaz, Usman Qadir, they all caused some sort of issues for Sri Lanka. But Hassan Ali, he kind of let the pressure off. In his first over, he gave up a few boundaries. In second as well, he gave a boundary, and that kind of let the pressure off, let Sri Lanka off the hook. But it was always going to be difficult to defend this kind of target, and that's where the batsmen have to take more responsibility and ensure that Pakistan have a good enough score to what's it called, to defend. From Sri Lanka's point of view, Nisanka again, contributing with the 50. He's been really good this tournament. Strike rate of 114, but he made sure he was there till the end, not out. This will give him a lot of confidence going to that final. He's playing with responsibility, especially he lost 2 wickets at the other end, and they were 29 for 3 at one stage, but he didn't lose his calm. He kept his composure, and he made sure he was there till the end and saw his team through. He built some important partnership with Rajapaksa first, and then Shanaka as well, and Hasaranga came and hit a few boundaries to cross to get Sri Lanka across the line. And that's where in these kind of chases, someone who can anchor is very important, and Nisanka played that role. Don't forget, Mendes, Tilaka, these guys have also had good tournaments, and that's why in the final as well, it'll be important for them to be informed. Sri Lanka, someone or the other, has chipped in with them in the bat, and the top order has been in the best form. If you look at all the teams, Sri Lanka's top five, I think, has been even top six until Chanaka, they've all been in form, and that's where the difference has been. I think from Sri Lanka and the other teams, they've beaten all the teams in the tournament so far that they've played, and this is the reason why the top five, six are firing, and then with the ball, everybody's chipping in with wickets. So they're not relying on one player as a unit. They've got all the departments covered. The fielding today was really good. That catch of Fakhar Zaman that Hasaranga took at the boundary was outstanding. Full marks to him there. So overall, all three departments, Sri Lanka look much more clinical than all the other teams. Of course, toss has played a part. They've won the tosses. They've chased all the targets, but you have to give them that much credit that they've done a really good job. They could have easily today, Pakistan were 60 for 1, 60 for 2 in 8 overs, 7 overs. That's when they applied the pressure. They could have easily let loose like how Afghanistan did yesterday, and Pakistan could have made 170, 180, but that's when Hasaranga came in. An excellent fielding off his own, bowling tight lines and lengths, and overall they were outstanding with the ball. So let's see what happens in the final. In the final, again, it can be anybody's game. Toss will play an important factor. From Pakistan's point of view, they'll have big players coming back in. Shadab will come in as well. Naseem Shah will come in. Sri Lanka haven't played Naseem Shah, so that's a big factor going into the final. He's been an excellent bowler and asset for Pakistan in this tournament. Very difficult to play extreme pace, and he's going to be fresh in that final because he's got that extra rest. So I would say that Pakistan still have a very good chance of winning in that final. Their main players didn't play. Also, Sri Lanka did rest a few players as well, but someone like a Naseem Shah could be the X factor in a final, in a pressure game, and that's what Pakistan will be looking at. They're looking at the positives. Yes, their batting has to improve, but bowling wise, they still have depth, and Dahani also didn't play today, so they have quite a few options, and they can put Sri Lanka under pressure with quality bowling in the finals, which today they had a few loose overs, but that won't happen in the finals. And if they do win the toss and bowl first as well, on top of that, that will give them that advantage and put Sri Lanka on the back foot from ball one. They have that opportunity to do that. So let's see what happens in the final. Really excited for that. That's going to be on Sunday. Tomorrow's a rest day over here, and we will continue with our coverage of the Asia Cup. Also, the South Africa versus England Test match will resume on day 3. With the Queen passing away, to mark respect, they called off day 2. But tomorrow the cricket will resume over there, and then we have the Australia New Zealand series. That's been a really good series so far. Australia one time chasing out of nowhere, they were 5 down for like 30-40, and Cameron Green played a magnificent innings, and then in the second one day they made only 119 50 overs, but they got New Zealand all out for under 100. So Australia looking good. Their big bowlers, Hazelwood and Stark, coming to the fore. Zampa has been outstanding for them in the last year or so, and again he's been bowling really well in this series. And so Australia will be, even though this is a one-day series against New Zealand, Australia will be one of the strong favorites going into the World Cup because they're playing in home conditions. They're the defending champions, and their players have been playing some really good T20 cricket. So let's see what happens in that World Cup. But until then, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure covering this tournament. It's been some excellent cricket, and hopefully we'll continue to bring coverage even after this tournament finishes, with all the cricketing updates in the cricketing world. Thank you so much for joining. Take care, and have a good night.